I wasn't expecting my ego to get wrecked by a girl in a clipboard and sneakers. Usually, I'm the one wrecking things. Lap records, hotel rules, and occasionally hearts. But this one? She didn't even blink when I pulled up in my Aston Martin, engine purring like a dragon about to sneeze money. She just looked at me, steady, unimpressed, and said, "You're blocking the service lane." That was my introduction to Ava Pierce, the event manager for the Lone Star International Grand Prix, otherwise known as my playground. I swung out of the car, sunglasses sliding down my nose. "You're new." I remember someone who looks like they actually reads the rule book. She didn't look up from her clipboard. And I'd remember someone who follows it. I laughed, sharp, quick, the kind of laugh that usually makes people nervous. She didn't even flinch. "Jason Cross," I said, extending my hand like I was offering her the moon. "Race car driver. Sponsor magnet. Occasional troublemaker." She scanned my face, then my hand, then ignored both. "You're also 20 minutes late to the press briefing you demanded we move for you." My grin slipped for a fraction of a second. "I like a dramatic entrance." "Then congratulations," she said. "You've achieved it. Now please move your car." I watched her walk away, hair tied up, not a single glance back. Everyone else in this world orbited around me like satellites. Ava, she was the sun, and she didn't care if I burned. The press conference went as expected, flashbulbs, fake smiles, sponsors pretending they weren't terrified of my reputation. The tabloids had painted me as the Playboy of the track. They weren't wrong. I'd had flings, fun, freedom, but lately even the adrenaline had started to taste flat. Afterward, I caught Ava in the logistics tent, barking orders into a radio. Her tone was crisp, efficient. She had that rare kind of authority that didn't need volume to command attention. I leaned against a post. "You ever take a break, or is caffeine your main personality trait?" She didn't glance up. "Some of us have to work for a living." "I work," I protested. "You drive in circles really fast." I smirked. "Takes skill. Hamsters do it for free. That one hit clean. I almost choked on my own amusement." "You're funny. Dangerous combo with that clipboard of yours." She finally looked at me, eyes sharp, steady. "Mr. Cross, your job is to drive. My job is to make sure you don't crash into more than walls." "That sounds like you care." "It's literally my job not to care about you personally. You're an asset." "Assets are replaceable." There it was, the knife disguised as a sentence. And damn, did I feel it. Later that day, during a sponsor dinner at the trackside terrace, I found myself staring at her again. She was handling some crisis with the catering staff, gesturing with calm precision while everyone else panicked. Sunlight slid across her face, and for one strange second, I forgot how to breathe. My agent Will nudged me. "You look like you're about to buy her a planet." I tore my gaze away. "Just wondering how someone that small can control an entire event?" "She's not your type," he said. I scoffed. "I don't have a type," he laughed. "Exactly my point. She's not a conquest, Jay. She's the kind who'll make you fill out paperwork to talk to her." "Challenge accepted," I muttered. The next morning, I showed up 2 hours early to the track, something I'd never done in my entire career. Ava was already there, setting up barriers, hair pulled back, sunlight cutting through the dust like gold. "Good morning, boss," I said, stepping up behind her. She turned, startled. "You're early. Are you lost?" I thought I'd help. "Help?" Her eyebrow arched. "Jason Cross wants to help." "What's the catch?" "No catch. Just trying this new thing called being decent," she smirked. "Sounds exhausting." Already regretting it. For a second she smiled, barely. But it was there. I wanted to see it again. We ended up setting up sponsor flags together. She worked like she was born to fix chaos. I worked like I was trying to impress her, which admittedly I was. "You always this serious?" I asked. "Only when million-dollar events depend on it." I nodded. "So, always." Her eyes softened a fraction. "You think it's easy, being the youngest manager in this circuit? Every time something goes wrong, people assume it's because I'm inexperienced. I can't afford to mess up." That was the first crack in her armor. I caught it quietly. "Guess we've got something in common," she frowned. "You? You're a legend." "Yeah," I said, voice lower. But legends fall fast. One crash, one mistake, one headline, and suddenly everyone forgets your wins. Our eyes met, No sarcasm, no shield, just two people caught in an unexpected truth. Then her radio crackled. "Ava, we've got a sponsor delay. Need you at the south gate." She broke eye contact instantly. "Duty calls." And she walked away again, leaving me wondering when the girl with the clipboard had managed to become the only thing in my head. The following afternoon was chaos. One of the other drivers, Lucas, an old rival and occasional jerk, decided to flirt with Ava just to annoy me. I was walking past the hospitality suite when I saw it, him leaning in too close, her politely stepping back. Something inside me snapped. I strode up, voice casual but tight. "Hey, Lucas, don't you have a car to crash?" He grinned. "Relax, Cross, we were just talking." Funny. It looked like you were mistaking conversation for invitation. Ava stepped between us. "Enough, both of you! I don't have time for testosterone theater." Lucas smirked and walked off. I glared after him, jaw clenched. She turned on me. "What was that?" I was jealous? Possessive? Unprofessional? I swallowed. Concerned. About what? That someone might actually talk to me? Her tone cut through me. "Ava? No, Jason. You don't get to play hero because you got bored." That one stung. Because it was half true. I was bored until her. Before I could respond, the event director stormed over. "Ava, we've got a situation. The PR rep just called off the press shoot for tomorrow. Apparently Jason's been ignoring calls." Her head snapped toward me. "Seriously?" I shrugged. "They wanted me to smile next to a tire for 3 hours. Do you understand that this affects everyone's schedule? My team, my budget, my entire timeline." Her voice rose just enough to draw attention. Cameras turned. People stared. She froze. I saw it, the flash of panic. She hated public confrontation, so I did the only stupid thing that came to mind. I grabbed her hand, lowered my voice, and said, "Then hire me to fix it." "What?" "Make it official. Put me on your team for the weekend. If I'm under your authority, I'll follow every order." She blinked, speechless for once. "You're insane." "Maybe," I said. "But at least I'll be your problem, not theirs." The director frowned, but seemed amused. "Fine, whatever gets him in line. Ava, he's your responsibility now." Her expression was a mix of disbelief and irritation. "My responsibility?" I grinned. "Looks like we're stuck together." She sighed, exasperated. "I can't believe this." "Believe it," I said, tugging my race cap lower to hide my smile. "Because starting tomorrow, I work for you." And that's how the Playboy race car driver ended up reporting to the one woman who couldn't stand him. Somewhere deep down, under the roar of engines and ego, I knew this was the start of a collision I wouldn't walk away from. The next morning began with the sound of Ava Pierce's voice, clear, calm, and cutting through chaos like a tuning fork slicing through noise. "Jason, if you're going to be part of my operations team," she said, hands on her hips, "you actually have to show up on time." I stood beside her, coffee in hand, perfectly calm. "You said 8. It's 8:05. 8 sharp means before 8. Then you should have said 7:55. She exhaled through her nose, the kind of sound people make right before committing light homicide. "You're testing me." "Constantly," I admitted. "It's part of my charm." Her clipboard smacked against my chest. "Then charm your way into doing something useful. The sponsor rep is waiting by the pit wall. Go help him with the product demo setup." I looked at the clipboard, then at her. "You trust me with that?" "I trust you to lift things without talking too much." Optimistic. She gave me one of those level stares that could melt titanium. "Try not to embarrass us." The way she said us hit differently. Like maybe, just maybe, I was part of something that wasn't only about me. The sponsor rep turned out to be a nervous guy in a suit who looked like he'd faint if a car engine sneezed. I helped him set up the banner stands and made a point of being useful. Every now and then I'd glance back at Ava directing people, radio clipped to her waist, sunlight catching the edge of her hair. I'd been surrounded by models, fans, and media for years. But this? Watching someone actually work, focused, fearless, brilliant, was new. Addicting even. By noon, the Austin sun was punishing, baking the asphalt until the air shimmered. Ava was still running from tent to tent, refusing to sit down. I grabbed 2 water bottles and cornered her near the control tower. "You're gonna pass out if you keep going," I said. She brushed her hair back, sweat gleaming on her temple. I don't have time for breaks. I handed her the bottle anyway. Then consider it a professional order. You're my boss, right? I'm following your lead. Take a break. She blinked, hesitated, then laughed softly. You're impossible. Relentlessly. We sat on the pit wall, feet dangling above the track. For a moment, the world felt still. She took a sip, then looked at me sideways. You really think I can manage all this? I frowned. What kind of question is that? Sometimes I think people are waiting for me to mess up. Like they're all keeping score. I studied her face. The confidence, the fatigue, the honesty she was trying to hide. Then make sure you win by too much for them to catch up. She smiled faintly. That's very race car driver of you. Yeah, well, I know a thing or two about pressure. Her eyes softened again. What's it like? Out there on the track? It's loud, I said quietly. But inside the car, it's quiet. Just me and the wheel. I just exist. Sounds lonely. It is, she didn't say anything. Just nodded like she understood. Later that afternoon, during the test runs, I decided to join the pit crew under her supervision. Helmet on, pretending to be just another worker. The other mechanics thought it was hilarious. Ava thought it was insane! Jason, she hissed, walking up as I tightened a wheel nut, you are not trained for this! Relax, I said, grinning. I watched a YouTube tutorial. She looked 1 second away from spontaneous combustion. If you strip that bolt, I swear, you'll what? Fire me? Gladly, her radio crackled. Ava, we've got a timing glitch on the west sector sensors. She groaned. Great, that's my afternoon gone. I stood wiping my hands. Need help? You've done enough damage. Come on, Pierce. You and me. Tech rescue mission. She hesitated, clearly torn between irritation and desperation. Then sighed. Fine, but no talking. Impossible, I said, following her. We ended up under the timing tower, surrounded by tangled cables and blinking monitors. I crouched beside her, both of us squinting into the sunlight. She muttered, You're too close. You're in my workspace. This is my workspace. Then I'm temporarily leasing it. Jason? Yes? Move. I didn't. She glanced at me, really looked at me, and for the first time there wasn't annoyance in her eyes. There was something else. Confusion, maybe. Heat, definitely. I swallowed. Ava. The moment was fragile, hanging there like a heartbeat between collisions. Then her phone buzzed, snapping it in half. She exhaled, stood, and said briskly, The system's fixed. Go back to the pit. I watched her walk off, every nerve in me humming. That night, late afternoon technically, since everything in her world ended by sunset, I found myself on the rooftop of the hospitality suite. From there, the entire track looked like a winding ribbon of light and ambition. Ava joined me reluctantly. You're not supposed to be up here. Neither are you. I was checking the lighting. Sure you were. She rolled her eyes. Do you ever stop teasing? Not when I'm this entertained. She crossed her arms. What do you want, Jason? The question hit harder than she knew. I paused, staring out at the track. I want to stop feeling like I'm running laps and never crossing any finish line. She studied me, expression softening. You mean your career? I mean everything. For a long time, she didn't speak. Then, quietly, You can't win if you don't know what race you're in. Her words landed like a truth I didn't want to hear. Over the next 2 days, something changed. The banter stayed sharp, but the silences between us started to mean more. We worked side by side under the blazing Austin sun, her clipboard, my swagger, both of us pretending not to notice how easily we fit into each other's rhythm. She'd scold me for leaning against sponsor cars. I'd bring her extra coffee and pretend it was coincidence. When she tripped on a cable, I caught her before she fell. For half a second, she stayed there, my hand on her waist, her eyes locked on mine, daylight glinting off her lashes. She whispered, You can let go now. I could, I said, but I kind of don't want to. She stepped back, cheeks flushed. Your trouble. Depends on who's asking. She didn't answer, but the corners of her mouth betrayed her. By the time the weekend crowd arrived, the tension between us had gone from annoyance to electricity. Everyone could feel it. Even Will, my agent, smirked every time Ava and I crossed paths. Careful, Jay, he said. You look like a man about to fall off his pedestal. I shrugged. Maybe the ground's not so bad. During the qualifying race, I could see her from the cockpit, standing near the pit wall, headset on, sun in her eyes. She looked like control personified. I hit the final turn, engine roaring, heart doing something I didn't recognize. For the first time, I wasn't racing for the crowd. I was racing for her. When I parked in the pit, she was there waiting, clipboard forgotten, smile small but real. "Good run," she said. "Just good? You didn't crash." "I'll call that a win." Harsh critic, she smirked. "Keeps you humble." I laughed, but the truth was, it did. The next afternoon brought the storm before the real race. Not literal, just human. Lucas, my rival, cornered me near the garage. "Heard you've been playing assistant instead of driver. What's next, coffee duty?" I ignored him, but he wasn't done. "You and the event manager, huh? Didn't peg you for the type to chase good girls. They're bad for your image." I clenched my jaw. "Watch it," he grinned. "Relax, man. She'll figure you out soon enough. They always do." I grabbed his collar before I could stop myself. "Say her name again and I'll make sure you're watching the race from a hospital bed." He laughed, brushing me off. "Touchy, must be serious." Ava walked in right as he left. Her eyes went wide. "What was that?" "Nothing," I said too fast. "You were about to hit him." I ran a hand through my hair. "He was being... I don't care," she snapped. "You can't keep doing this, throwing fists, throwing charm, throwing your career away for stupid pride." "It wasn't pride," I shot back. "He was talking about you." Her expression faltered, but only for a moment. "Then let him. I can handle myself." "It's not about handling yourself, Ava. It's about respect." She shook her head. "You don't get to decide what I need protecting from." Silence dropped between us. Heavy and raw. I didn't mean... I started, but she turned away. "Go home." "Jason, you're off my team for the rest of the day," I wanted to argue. I wanted to explain that for the first time in years, I wasn't fighting just to win. I was fighting because I cared, but I didn't. I just watched her walk away, that same impossible distance between us widening again. By sundown, the track was quiet. The air still carried heat, but my chest felt cold. I sat alone in the pit lane, staring at the finish line painted across the asphalt. For the first time, it didn't look like victory. It looked like something I might lose. And when she passed by hours later, not even glancing my way, I knew it somehow. Somewhere along the line, I'd stopped racing against the world. I was racing for her, and I was losing. The roar of engines used to feel like home. Today, it sounded like judgment. I sat in the cockpit, helmet off, staring at the stretch of asphalt ahead. It should have been just another race. But after Ava's silence yesterday, no calls, no glances, no clipped sarcasm, I felt like I was driving through fog. Will leaned over the car. "You good, man? You look like you forgot which way is forward." "I'm fine." He eyed me. "Sure, just remember, sponsors are watching. So maybe don't crash or cry out there, yeah?" "Helpful." He patted my shoulder. "Hey, just race. The rest will sort itself out. If only it worked that way." I scanned the pit wall, but Ava wasn't there. Not her headset, not her clipboard, not the one person who could cut through the noise in my head. The announcer's voice crackled over the loudspeaker. "Drivers, start your engines." I slid my helmet on, heart pounding harder than the pistons. The first few laps blurred. Muscle memory took over, accelerate, brake, glide, push. The car moved like an extension of my pulse. But every turn, every flash of the stands, every glimpse of the pit made me search for her. I kept expecting to see her there, arms crossed, eyes sharp, lips pressed in that disapproving almost smile. She wasn't. Then, halfway through lap 15, a voice cut through the radio. Clear, professional, achingly familiar. "Cross, this is control. Adjust your line through turn 7. You're losing 2/10. Ava." I exhaled, somewhere between relief and disbelief. "Copy that, boss." "Focus," she said, her tone clipped. "You're trailing Lucas by a second. Keep your head in the race, and always do." Debatable. There it was. The tiniest ghost of their usual banter. I smiled inside my helmet. By lap 20, the heat was brutal, the tires screaming, the world narrowing to noise and sunlight. Lucas was right ahead of me, his car cutting sharp lines, taunting me with every turn. Ava's voice came again, steady and firm. "Don't take him on the outside." He's blocking wide. Wait for the straight. Since when do you tell me how to drive? Since you started listening, I laughed. Short, breathless. You sound like you missed me. Concentrate, Cross. Yes, ma'am. I held back through the curve, waited for the straightaway, and then hit it. The car leapt forward, engine roaring. I passed Lucas in a clean flash of red and asphalt, the crowd erupting. Nice move, Ava said. Don't sound so shocked. Still don't crash, she replied. That's an order. For the first time all weekend, I felt weightless. Then it happened. Lap 28. A tire shredded. Not mine, thank God, but the debris scattered across the track. I saw a flash of carbon fiber, swerved to dodge it, and clipped the wall. The car jolted sideways, metal screaming, dust flying. Jason! Ava's voice cracked through the comm. I yanked the wheel, corrected the slide, and somehow kept the car alive. My pulse went feral. Cross, respond! I'm fine, I gasped. Still in it. Pull in, now! No, I can finish. Jason, that's an order. Her voice wasn't the cool, unshakable tone of an event manager. It was raw, frantic, real, and for a split second I almost listened. Almost. But then I saw the finish line ahead, 3 laps away. Lucas had pulled ahead again. The crowd was a blur of motion and sound. My chest tightened, not from fear, but from something sharper. What was I even racing for anymore? Sponsors? Reputation? Or was I trying to prove something to her? To myself? Her voice broke again. Jason, don't be stupid. Get off the track. That's when it hit me, the title of this ridiculous story we were living. She was the finish line, and I didn't care about crossing any other one. I slowed the car mid-lap. Just eased off the accelerator, let the other racers fly past in streaks of color and fury. Gasps rippled through the crowd. What are you doing? Ava shouted through the headset. Jason, answer me. I'm done. Done? You can't just... I can. And I am. Cross, you're throwing your career away. Maybe, but at least I'm finally racing in the right direction. Silence. Only static and my heartbeat. Then softly, come back to the pit. When I pulled in, the world was chaos. Reporters shouting, mechanics gesturing wildly, the director swearing into his phone, but I didn't see any of them. I saw her. Ava stood by the control booth, headset hanging loose, eyes wide with fury, and something else. Fear. I climbed out, yanked off my helmet, and walked straight to her. She met me halfway. What the hell was that? I told you. I was done. You can't just stop mid-race. People thought you were injured. I was, I said quietly. Just not physically. Her expression flickered, anger fighting emotion. You risked your entire career for... What, some dramatic exit? For you. The words came out before I could stop them. Her eyes widened. What? I left mid-lap because I realized the track never mattered. The fame, the noise, the trophies, it all meant nothing if I crossed that finish line and you weren't there. Jason, I know what you think of me, that I'm reckless, arrogant, impossible, and you're right. But for the first time in years, I wanted to drive towards something real. Not away from it. She looked down, voice trembling. You could have gotten hurt. I was already hurting. The crowd around us was still shouting, cameras flashing, but none of it existed. Just the two of us standing in sunlight that felt too bright for what I was saying. She took a step back. You can't just throw your life away because of me. It's not because of you. It's because of what you made me see, which is, that winning doesn't mean anything if you're alone at the podium. Her eyes glistened, but she shook her head. You're unbelievable. I get that a lot. She huffed a laugh, half exasperation, half disbelief. Jason Cross, you're an idiot. Absolutely, and the most frustrating man I've ever met. True again. She sighed, long and shaky. You could have died out there. Then at least it would have been for something that mattered. Her hand shot up, pressing against my chest, not in anger, but to stop me from saying more. Don't you dare say that. I caught her wrist gently. Then tell me to stay. Her breath hitched. You don't take orders well. For you, I'll learn. That broke her. Her shoulders dropped and she whispered, You're impossible. I smiled. I'll take that as a yes. The aftermath was chaos. News outlets losing their minds, sponsors threatening lawsuits, the director fuming, but Ava stood between me and the storm like a shield. By the next morning, the headlines were everywhere. Playboy driver walks away mid-race? Love or lunacy? Will called, exasperated. You realize you just became both the most hated and most romantic man in sports history? Good mix, I said. Does this mean you're quitting? I looked across the paddock. Ava was standing near the podium, clipboard in hand, pretending not to look at me. No, I said. I'm just starting. Later that day, when the track was empty and quiet again, I found her standing by the finish line. Irony in perfect form. Still mad? I asked, walking up. She didn't turn. Mad? No, terrified? Yes. You scared the life out of me. Sorry about that. You should be. We stood there, sunlight stretching long across the asphalt. I'm not the guy people think I am, I said softly, but I want to be the man you thought I could never be. She finally looked at me, eyes soft. You left the track mid-lap, yeah. Why? I smiled faintly. Because I saw the finish line standing right here. Her breath caught. Then, slowly, she closed the distance between us. You're still an idiot. Consistent, at least. And when she leaned in, resting her forehead against mine, the world went perfectly still. No engines, no noise, no speed, just sunlight, heartbeat, and the quiet kind of victory that doesn't need a checkered flag. Weeks later, after the chaos settled and the next event loomed, she handed me a clipboard. You're officially banned from mid-race existential crises, I grinned. That's fair. But, she added, you're also officially reinstated, if you agree to follow orders. Whose? Mine, always, she smiled, shaking her head. You really are addicted to trouble. Only when trouble looks like you, she rolled her eyes, but her hand slipped into mine anyway. When I walked back onto the track that afternoon for my test run, I turned to see her watching from the pit wall, arms folded, sunlight in her hair. Same girl. Same clipboard. Different gravity. The engines roared alive, but this time the noise didn't drown me. It grounded me. As I crossed the line on my first lap back, I caught her voice in my radio again. Steady, calm and mine. Nice run, Cross. I smiled, remembering the first thing I'd ever said to her. Guess I finally followed the rule book. Miracles happen, she replied, and for once, I didn't need the crowd to cheer or the cameras to flash, because I knew it now. The race had never been about winning. It was about finding her, and I did. What would you choose, victory or love? Tell us in the comments if you'd leave the track mid-lap for the one who changed your life. Like, share, and subscribe for more powerful love stories where arrogance meets redemption and hearts cross the finish line together. Stay tuned. Every story races faster, burns deeper, and ends where love wins.